What up, Tile friends? Hope everybody's had a great week. We are here today with my man, Mike Devine. Mike, how are you doing, brother?
Good, you, bud?
Doing good. So the reason we've had Mike on the show, once or twice before?
I've been on once, yeah.
On one time, and he's got a company, Modern Tile, and then he's got a company called what's it called again? Tool Republic. Tool Republic, and now he's launched a third thing, and that's really the reason I asked Mike to come on today, is his passion for sobriety and fitness. And in fact, that's what we're talking about today, is his new page, Sobriety and Fitness, at Sobriety and Fitness. And you can definitely check this out on Instagram. It's just at Sobriety and Fitness with no spaces or anything. And he posts motivational quotes, motivational shorts and things of that nature for those of you looking for either sobriety or fitness or both, which they do go hand in hand. Why do these two things go hand in hand, Mike?
So it's personal growth. So in my life, I have been fit at one point. I have been sober at one point, but I've never truly been sober and fit at the same time. And so I'm going on 9 years sobriety. This past year, I did a fitness challenge that really got me back to where I was at one point in my life. And, I realized how much better I feel in my head. And this isn't just a physical change. The physical change is a bonus, but the mental change, the discipline change, those types of things are why I think they go hand in hand. You have to be disciplined to get sober. It's just something you have to do. You just have to want it, right?
And so that's why they go so hand in hand really well together.
Yes, like your mind and your body, right? Like you take care of your health. It's all about health at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So what was the challenge? Did you say it was a 90-day challenge? Or?
So it was actually a 75-day challenge. It was called 75 Hard. I'm sure many people have heard about it. There's very strict rules. You got to work out twice a day for 45 minutes. One has to be outside. You got to drink a gallon of water, no alcohol or cheat meals, which was fine with me. You have to follow a diet of your choosing, but it has to be like a reasonable diet. Mm-hmm. And then you have to take a progress picture every day. So, there's very strict rules. Like sometimes I was walking around my block, Luke, at 1:15 in the morning just to get my second workout in because I made my day end that late. Yeah. And that brought me back to the discipline that I had when I got sober. And I go through all that in my Instagram page. You can look through some of my pictures and posts, and I will break this down. But when I got sober, after having years of sobriety, I'm like, this is it. Like I've done it. And I kind of got complacent, which, I got sober. Like I don't need to do anything else. And I got to that place. And then after this fitness challenge, I realized that there's so much more to my health and to my life and to my attitude and to my discipline that, I just kind of let go because I figured, I'm sober. Like I've done the biggest thing I could possibly do. And I was wrong. Like there's so many more things that I can do.
But what a great lesson. What a great lesson. When you think you got to the top of the mountain, where are you going to go? I mean, you're still a young man, 40?
Well, I turned 39 last week. So
39.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, congratulations.
You're right on.
So I'm turning 40 here in a few months. So I'm about a year ahead.
We're
so
pushing.
You're still such a young man that you're like, is this all there is? And you said, no, I can improve a little more.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's inspiring.
And I feel it. And so because of that, that's when I've always, as you know, and we've had many discussions in person and on the phone and whatever. And as you know, like I am not, I'm not embarrassed or shy about my addiction. So, it's time that I open up and want and try and help others. And I want others to see that none of us are alone in these addictions, right? Yeah. And this life. Like there's always people out there, and you have to find people who have been in the same scenarios that you've been And I use the term look up to, no matter what of the age. And I still do that today. There's many people in my life that I look up to that I'm following, right? That are giving me inspiration to get to the next level. So you're right. I was here. I thought I was here. I realized I'm still only here, and I have this much more to go. So let's go. And listen, this has changed many aspects of my life. It's changed my marriage. It's changed me as a father. It's changed me as a son. It's changed me as a brother. It's changed me as a boss. It's probably changed me as a business partner, right? It's changed me in so many ways for the better, none of which were for the worse. Nothing. Maybe I complained a few days to my wife that I was sore after working out twice a day till 2 a.m. But other than that, there's no negative to this.
Yeah.
But with the no negative, there's a lot of hard work. And I think, people need to understand how much work you have to dedicate if you feel like getting sober. Like, this isn't just like, okay, you know what, Monday I'm going to stop drinking and using or whatever your addiction is, and then we're good. No, like, you got to change your whole life. Where you go, who you hang out with, what you're doing. You got to replace one addiction with another addiction, and this takes years. This didn't take me 6 months to do. It took me years. And I was a hockey player. Like, I didn't even play hockey for 4 years because what's associated with hockey? Drinking after. Like, I didn't even go. I just said,
change your environment.
You change everything that you do. And people need to realize sobriety is the most selfish thing you will ever do. It's actually more selfish than using and drinking and addiction. Sobriety's very selfish. And so those around you have to understand that. And if they don't, then they're not supposed to be around you. End of discussion.
Can you explain a little further what you mean by selfish?
So, for instance, if, I'll give you an example. My wife says, hey, we're going to a wedding next Saturday. Okay. So what's associated with weddings? Drinking. I'm at a stage in my sobriety where just because I don't drink doesn't mean you can't.
Right.
I don't mind if people have drinks. But if I would get in an uncomfortable position, I'll leave. But I tell my wife, okay, as soon as dinner's over, I'm probably going to go home. And, take an Uber, one of the guys, one of the girls will drive you home. Like, we always know people there.
Yeah.
Because as soon as people start getting loose, as I call it, when the alcohol kicks in,
right,
I don't want to be around that. And why don't I want to be around it? Because I don't need to anymore. So I'm leaving. I don't actually care what you think, right? I'm leaving.
Yeah.
If I don't want to put myself in positions, I don't. If I don't want to go somewhere because I'm like, you know what, that's just somewhere I don't need to be, I don't go. I actually don't care about what anybody else thinks. And, my wife knows this. And I'm just using that as an example with my wife because she supports my sobriety.
Right.
And she knows that if Mike says he's leaving because he doesn't want to be around there.
Yeah.
And that's I'm only thinking about myself. I'm not thinking about what it does to my wife, whether my wife wants me there or her feelings. I'm not, it doesn't matter. It matters, but you know what I mean? Like, my sobriety comes first because if I'm not sober, I'm no longer a husband. I'm no longer a father. I'm no longer a business owner. I'm nothing. Right. I'm back on the streets where I used to be, stealing to keep my addiction going.
Yeah.
Right. And so nothing else matters before it's my biggest full-time job.
Yeah. And so you use the word selfish to indicate and illustrate that you have to put your priorities first in some cases. And that the term we're going to use is selfish, but ultimately, since we dug deeper and you explained the reason I'm selfish is so that I don't lose it all, so that I can continue to be dependable, so that my wife can depend on me being home every day sober, so that my children can depend on me being here for the long term, so that my employees and my business partners can depend on me. So yes, it's a selfish act in the moment, and somebody may or may not see it as selfish. You having to remove yourself from a situation, you may or may not have those feelings like, well, I wish I could be with my friends, but I have to do this selfish thing, you know. But understanding the why, you see the reason. The reason is so I can hold my shit together.
Right. Like, so here's something that I've noticed in sobriety. Before I got sober, I had nothing. Like, I had nothing. I was worth nothing. I owned nothing. I had nothing. I had no relationships, no kids, nothing. Then I got sober, and then I got years into sobriety. Now I own that. That's something that I own. I've worked harder for that than anything else in my life. So I'm not willing to actually give that up. And that's what keeps me going in sobriety. I'm not willing to give up the one thing that I have. And you know what? That one thing that I have is something a lot of people wish they had.
Yeah.
But they don't want to fight for it. So you're right. To be a father, to be a husband, to be a son, to be a brother, to be a partner, I have to stay sober in order to do that. And these people are depending on me. Yeah. It's funny. There's an audio on Instagram. There's no backup. I am the backup.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah,
so if I fail, then what?
Yeah.
Then I leave all these people who depended on me behind. I'm right back to the same place I was before. Nobody trusted me. Nobody wanted me around. I'm not going back there. I worked too hard to get all that.
So when you have those thoughts, there's no backup. I'm the one. Is that stressful to you, or was it ever stressful? And how did you overcome it?
So it is stressful in a sense. And, you know, just because I'm sober doesn't mean that I don't get stressed out.
Sure.
You know me very well. I have multiple businesses that are just trying to get off the ground. Like, it's not like these are crazy successful businesses as of yet. So I get very stressed out. But I guess one thing sobriety's done to me, in a sense, is it's kind of made me a little bit cold, where there's no option. So yes, I'm stressed, but I'm not going to make your day bad because I'm stressed. That's my stress. And I kind of deal with it a little bit different because I've gotten through so many hard times that I know for sure it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So, but it does stress me out to know that I'm the backup.
Yeah.
But listen, I've had so many worse issues in my life than knowing that I'm backup. That is just everyday stress. Just because I'm sober doesn't mean I don't have stress. The only difference is my head is very clear and I can deal with it now. Right?
So your head's clear and you can realize, and it sounds like you do what I do, is I take a really difficult situation in my past and I don't dwell on it for the negative, but I say, you know what, Luke, if you overcame that with God's grace and your wife's help or whatever the situation was, you can overcome this trial because this is nothing compared to that. Is that how you feel at times?
I do. Like, my past was so, and when I say my past was so bad, like, I put myself there. This is no blame on anybody else. Right. I had a good family, good upbringing, great family, great friends. I did what I did. Nobody made me do that. But I put myself in situations that were so uncomfortable and so low that nothing I do today can compare to that, because I'm able to think about what I'm doing, right? And so, I always relate it, like you, back to something I did. But my whole past is just one big relatable thing, right?
Wow.
So, and again, I put myself there. I don't want pity from anybody. I don't want nothing. I put myself there. You have to be accountable for what it is that you do in your life, whether it's your future or your past. Be accountable. So I'm here. I'm accountable. And that's what I want people to realize. Be accountable, but don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Move forward, right? I'm a perfect example of what it's like to be not the wrong person that you want to be, but has moved into being a contributing member of society, who a father, a husband. I keep relating those things. Those things are so important to me. And I wouldn't have any of those without sobriety. I just as a person wouldn't.
And so you got sober, what, 8 years ago? You said 9?
I'll be sober 9 years in November. So almost 9 years ago. Yeah.
Congratulations.
2013. Thank you.
And so how many years ago, was it 12, 13, 15 that you got addicted? And can you just tell us the 10,000 foot overview of how that happened? And, and also your climb to sobriety.
I'll make it as quick as I can. 12 years old, my father commits suicide. My father was my best friend.
Wow.
So that set me off on a path of destruction.
Yeah.
Me not even realizing that's why. 14, I leave home. I didn't want to listen to anybody. I did what I want. I went and lived with friends. I did whatever. Couch surfed, anything I wanted. Then I started using at 14.
Right.
I started using at 14 years old.
Wow.
So from 14 to 30, when I got sober, I drank and used, and I traveled. I was lucky enough to travel North America and play hockey. And that didn't help for sure. And that just, my whole life was one big party, not knowing at 9 a.m. even where I was sleeping that night. And so, you know what, it adds up. You never have a place to live. You're depending on everybody else. You have nothing. Then I was in California because I was kicked off my job because I was using, which is, it's a coincidence in a sense. And I went there to meet somebody I know from my hometown to play tennis. And that man sat me down and said to me one morning, because he knew why I was there. We were playing tennis. We went for breakfast, and he sat down and said, "Mike, I want to tell you something." He said, 20 years ago, I was just like you. He goes, "You need help." And so we went walking that day up a mountain. This man was 60. I was 30. He was 20 yards ahead of me. And I looked up, and he was walking. He had his head up. He was looking at all the nice scenery. We're in Palm Springs in the mountains, looking at all the nice scenery. And I'm 20 yards back, looking at my feet. I'm crying. I said, "That's life. This isn't life." Yeah. I went home. I went online. I typed in, are you an addict? I answered 9 out of the 10 questions, yes. The next day I flew home. I waited for treatment to open 30 days, and I went to treatment. And then I did aftercare. And that conversation could have went 2 ways. I could have said, "Listen, why are you telling me this? Who are you?"
Yeah.
Or I could have taken it and I went home and I looked in the mirror and said, "Is that really who I am? This isn't who I want to be." And so I made a change. And that was it. Somebody was honest with me. And so that's kind of how I am with people. I'm very honest with people. Not everybody wants to hear what I have to say, but I'm direct and I'm very honest. It could be good, it could be bad, but I want people to be like that with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that, and then I went to treatment. It's embarrassing to go to treatment, but it's the best thing I ever did. I still to this day am doing things that I learned 9 years ago in treatment. Nice. And you have an aftercare program and you really see it through. And here I am today, still trying to, you still try and stay sober. It's not like every day I have to pay attention.
Yeah, I bet.
It does get easier.
That's good. Yeah.
It does get easier. I mean, look, you and me were in Vegas together.
Yeah.
We were at the bar all night, and I came in and I did my thing and I left.
Yeah.
I don't need to be there to say, "Hey, he's here hanging out." No, I hung out. That's me.
Yeah.
So that's the selfish part. I hung out how much I wanted to hang out, and I left. That doesn't make me any worse of a person because I didn't stay till 2 a.m. or nothing. That just means that I know me.
Yeah.
Right. That's a perfect example.
I love it. And selfishness, there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
Right?
There it is.
Protect yourself. Protect
yourself and protect what you're trying to accomplish. That's like, I have big dreams in this life.
Yeah.
And they've only gotten bigger over the last year. But I have to protect those, as you say.
Yeah. So, and I really appreciate you sharing your story. What a story it is, and it's inspiring. It's inspiring for everybody who hears it. And tell us real quick about Sobriety and Fitness, and kind of, you're making reels every day. You're making, posts every day. They're inspirational. They're wrapped up around sobriety and fitness. Yeah. Obviously, what are you hoping to accomplish with this page?
So the whole page obviously revolves around sobriety and fitness. And in fact, this is our logo. My wife designed this and gave it to me for my birthday last week. Nice. So this is now what our logo is. Hopefully one day we can make it a brand. But my whole goal in this is just for others to see that there is hope if they're in addiction.
Yeah.
And, there's a better tomorrow. Yeah. As long as they're willing to put in the work, there's a better tomorrow. And I am walking proof of that. That is my goal. Help one person realize that there's a better tomorrow.
I love it, Mike. Well, listen, Mike, I appreciate you coming on to share your story. Once again, friends, it's Sobriety and Fitness here at Sobriety and Fitness on Instagram. And I know Mike's also on Facebook. Are you on any other social?
I have I'm on TikTok only because that's what you're supposed to do. But again, it's Sobriety and Fitness. There's not much to it. But you can follow me on there, of course. And I am on Facebook. But it's actually under Mike Devine. So on my Facebook is my name, Mike Devine. Okay. But you can follow along there too as well.
Okay. All right, Mike. Well, listen. Again, really appreciate you taking the time and everything you're doing. This is going to help a lot of people. It's encouraging to me, and I know it's encouraging to others.
Thank you so much, Luke. And it was good talking with you, and I know we'll do this again.
Always good to see you. Anytime you want help, I'm here to help you, brother.
You're a good man. Thank you.
All right, Tile friends. Have a good weekend.